I was about to propose, now she refuses to talk to me. My girlfriend Elise and I had been together for 3 years and living together for 1.5 years. Our relationship was very strong and we were madly in love. All of our friends always used to say that we were a perfect couple. Our communication was strong and we had everything planned in our lives. I told her that I won't be marrying her before I get a job that pays well enough to build our family, and she agreed. Well, I got a very good job 2 months ago and we started planning our lives together. Our plan was to get married in the next year or two, buy a house, and then have kids when we have more financial stability. She also started dropping hints that I should propose. I was already planning to propose, so I started researching rings and proposal venues. This is when I contacted her best friend, Leah, and asked her to meet me and keep it a secret. I told her my plans and she confirmed that Elise would love this and also gave me some suggestions which I loved. Leah also included David, as the three of them were best friends since childhood and knew each other very well. They also helped me pick the ring. The plan was to rent a cabin surrounded by nature and wilderness, as Elise likes that a lot. I rented the cabin and on Friday I took the day off without telling my girlfriend and met up with Leah and David and one of my friends to set up everything. I gave instructions to my friend about how I wanted everything to be set up as he was supposed to go there the next day before us and set up everything. I went back home after that and ordered Elise's favorite takeout. We talked about her day and then went to bed. Now a week ago Leah had invited Elise for brunch on Saturday, proposal day, at a new fancy place. She emphasized that the place was fancy so that Elise wouldn't get suspicious of Leah asking her to wear a nice dress. On Saturday morning Leah and David came to our apartment to pick up Elise. As soon as they left I called a friend of mine who was waiting just around the corner and I left soon after. Then I called my other friend who was supposed to be at the cabin and asked him how everything was going. He assured me that everything was set up exactly how I wanted it. I had also asked David to share their location and to drive slowly or take a longer route so that I could get there 10 to 15 minutes before them. I realized David hadn't shared the location but it was fine. We got there and I just ran in to change into a suit. Then I went to the exact position and checked the camera angles. Everything was perfect. Then I waited for my girlfriend and her friends to arrive. The drive is 30 to 40 minutes from our apartment and they should have been there. I thought they went slightly overboard with stalling. I waited there for another 20 minutes. It had already been more than an hour since they left the apartment and I was getting worried so I asked one of my friends to call David and sneakily ask how long it'll take them. They called him 2 to 3 times, but no answer. Then they called Leah 2 or 3 times. No answer. I assumed the worst. I called David and Leah as well. Still no answer. Finally, I decided to call Elise. First call, she didn't answer. My heart was racing at this point. As soon as I called her again, Leah answered instead. I was panicking and asked her if everything was all right and why nobody was answering the phone. She went silent for 2 seconds and then started yelling at me. She told me to never call Elise ever again and that I was dead to her. That I was a horrible human being for doing that to her. That she doesn't want to see my face or talk to me ever again. I was confused, but before I could say anything she hung up. I was so confused and started crying and my friends had to console me. Soon after that, I got a text from Leah that said she'll be coming over later with David to get Elise's stuff and that Elise doesn't even want to step into the apartment. Even if I'm not there. I immediately called her parents to ask what was going on. They knew about the proposal and we were supposed to go to their home for lunch after the proposal. They had no clue what was going on and told me that they'll call her and ask. I got a call from them 10 minutes later saying that they called Elise and she told them that she can't talk right now and she'll call them later. They were also confused about all this. I was devastated and I didn't know what to do. My friends took me back to my apartment and we hung out. David and Leah came over in the evening to take Elise's stuff. My friends and I tried to talk to them but they didn't say anything. They just asked me where Elise's stuff was and just took some of it, and then said they'll be back for the rest. They also reiterated that if I tried contacting Elise again, I'll be reported for harassment. At that moment I just wanted to cry because just the thought of me harassing my girlfriend was overwhelming. After they left, my friends told me that they think I shouldn't be alone right now and they were staying the night, and won't take no for an answer. We stayed up and talked till 4 in the morning last night and then everyone went to bed. I wasn't able to sleep and I've been just thinking about every potential reason for Elise's behavior, but I don't have any answers. The only scenario I can think of is that Elise was cheating on me and somehow she realized I was going to propose and she freaked out and told her friends that she couldn't do this because I cheated on her. This still doesn't make sense but it's the closest thing to an explanation I have right now. I know it's a horrible thing to think about. Today was supposed to be the first day of our engaged life together. Crazy ex-wife is ruining my new girlfriend's life to bring our family back. I met my ex-wife when I was 25. We fell in love and the children came sooner than we planned but it just happened and I love the hell out of my children. The first few years of our relationship was great but then it wasn't. Looking back, it wasn't anyone's fault, we just became very different people. After our third daughter our intimacy life became non-existent. It felt like for my wife, the purpose of effing me was done. Now we have 3 beautiful children. After 3 years we started having intimacy again in a form of mercy handjobs in bed. It wasn't enough for me. But she told me that she was tired and busy with 3 small children. I was tired too but I was more than prepared to make an effort to make plans and time for romance. I had a vasectomy so my ex-wife didn't need to take unnecessary hormones because we were done having children. When it started affecting our children, seeing us very irritated and cold towards each other, I thought I should man up and pull the plug. We haven't been happy or intimate since before our second was born. And we haven't had real intimacy since we conceived our youngest. We should have ended it way earlier but the guilt of breaking the children's home was heavy until I noticed that our home was already broken and my children aren't stupid not to see the sellotape we're trying to hold it together with. I asked for divorce. Everyone told me I was mad and to think about the children, and it was very hard in the beginning. I left the house for my ex. I rented a 2-bedroom nearby and we started doing 1 week each. I was positively surprised at how much happier the children became seeing me happy and not easily irritated and brooding. I started seeing my new girlfriend about a year ago, and what was thought to be a casual one-time thing turned out to be the love of my life. She is amazing in every aspect. Kind, loving, successful, funny, and so beautiful. She is child-free, and she was happy that I was done having children. On my child-free weeks I can just be with her. Just being me. Late breakfasts in bed. Morning intimacy. Wherever I want in the home. I know it makes me sound like a selfish douche, but on my weeks with my children, I give 100% because I'm content and happy with life. She has met my children too and they adore her. My ex, and my ex-mother-in-law and my own mother behind her, has been hinting that maybe we should go back together now. The children are older, we are less tired, and we are much happier now, so we aren't going to fight all the time like we used to. She wants a real relationship too, and she will give me as much intimacy as I wanted. Is that really what she thinks I want? More mercy F's for my sake? Think of the children, they say. My ex is tired of being a single mom while I'm playing a bachelor every other week. Give them their old safe home back. No need for hopping from place to place. While the guilt was nagging at me, I rejected her advances and ignored her and the guilt because I'm happy for the first time in years, maybe ever. Until Friday, when my girlfriend came home crying. She told me maybe we should break up because she doesn't want to be in the way of my and my children's happiness. She asked me if I was still in love with my ex. It broke my heart to see her broken, like I didn't do a good job showing her what she meant to me and how much I loved her. Turns out my ex-wife has contacted her telling her that she was the reason we aren't back together and the children are suffering. She said that we loved each other and she is just my fun for now. I called my ex livid and she called me selfish. I then told her that being a part-time dad was the best thing that ever happened to me because I'm a human, not only a father. My ex-wife started crying. I apologized for hurting her, but she hung up. Now I'm being bombarded by my mom and the rest saying that I'm a selfish man and a terrible father. My mom even sent me a video with my children where she asked them how they would feel if mommy and daddy moved back together, and they were so happy saying yes and jumping. I can't forget my daughter's face lighting up with happiness at the prospect. This video was sent to my girlfriend as well, and now she is distant and broken. I hear her cry whenever she thinks I don't hear her. A whole boyfriend makes a pro and con list calling me a SLT, so I made one back. I met my boyfriend on Tinder in the beginning of my freshman year of college. I was a very naive 18-year-old. I'd been on dates, but I'd never been in a relationship and I hadn't even had my first kiss yet. I was pretty miserable my first couple of weeks after moving in, and so I got Tinder and matched with a bunch of guys who went to my school. One of them I thought was pretty attractive. He was a junior and a brother in a good, but notorious, frat. He told me to come to his frat's party, so I went with some girls I'd met at orientation. There he took me upstairs and we made out, but I think he could tell I was very inexperienced, so nothing more happened. I pretty much fell in love with him, even though we'd said about 3 words to each other. I didn't see him until a couple of weeks later when he invited me to a party he was throwing. I was expecting us to at least hook up, but when we got there he was clearly with another girl, and there were tons of other random girls who I assume he was also hooking up with. I was naive but not an idiot, so I forced myself to get over it, and I didn't see him until my spring semester. When I drank too much, he ended up at my dorm and I lost my virginity to him. I didn't see him again until fall of my sophomore year. We hooked up the first week we were back on campus. I still didn't catch feelings again though, until we started to hook up regularly every week. At that point I was again pretty much in love with him, although this time I did have reasons beyond just him being a large, attractive, popular man. We weren't dating, but we got to know each other and I saw his many virtues. However, it was still clear to me that he wasn't into me in that way, and that I was one of a number of women he was sleeping with, so I didn't say anything and I kept it casual. He also had a pretty terrible reputation as a F-boy, even amongst his frat brothers. His Instagram comments were usually filled with them saying things like horniest man alive, and all 2,500 of his followers are his girlfriends. He graduated at the end of that spring semester, and we saw each other one last time before. It was incredibly intimate and really cemented everything I felt for him. So, after we both left campus, I confessed to him that I really liked him, and that I wasn't okay with just hooking up with him anymore, for my own sanity. Miraculously he said he also had feelings for me, and he asked me out on a real date. We started dating and have been together since, and the whole time has been healthy and happy for us. Last Thursday was our 1-year anniversary of becoming official. He got me an incredibly thoughtful gift basket, including some jewelry, a painting, and a card. In the card though was a printed picture of a pros and cons list on a whiteboard. He explained to me that he saw my confessional message when he was hanging out with his brother. My boyfriend said he really didn't know what to do and wasn't sure if he wanted anything more with me, but he was tired of sleeping around and wanted a stable relationship. So his brother said he should make a pros and cons list for me, and he did. Here's a paraphrase of the list. My pros were that I was cute, great SS, good in bed, horny, likes me a lot, sweet, lots of friends, doesn't go out too much, close to her family, really smart and academically successful, good future ahead of her, definitely not a gold digger, would do wife duties. My cons? Kind of a SLT, met on Tinder, frat girl, blacks out a lot, doesn't care a lot about her appearance, kind of nerdy based on that. He apparently decided to ask me out to dinner and then decide what to do based on how it went, and it went well enough that we started dating. He showed it to me with nothing but good intentions, but I was absolutely floored for obvious reasons. I have been pretending to be sick since then as I figure out what to do. On the one hand, he is my dream man and I am so glad to be with him. He has been nothing but incredible to me and we have a great relationship. And logically I know that he wasn't in love with me or anything when he asked me out, as I'm sure he had some idea of how I felt and he never did anything about it. But it still hurts to think that his feelings towards me were so ambivalent that he needed a goddamn pros and cons list to just ask me out. I can't really talk about this to anyone in my life, as a lot of them already dislike him, and I don't want to bias them anymore. So I thought I would ask here. What can I possibly do? I like to think that I have more self-respect than this, but I really love him and don't want to cause conflict in our relationship over something he definitely didn't think would hurt me.